So what I'm going to show you is, of course, my interpretation of how I've learned things across. So, and feel free by all means do your own interpretations and research. I will share that with you now, inshallah. So, what the topic today is how the Iman works. So, we probably all should understand the journey of Iman from where we are, where it can be, and so on and so forth. So, the way I have understood it from different teachers and lectures and all of that, the summary that I'm going to give you is there are actually two types of things ultimately. If this gray bar is your life, on the left side you have absolute disbelief, and on the right side you have a very strong Iman. That's what effectively is with every human being on the planet. If you see right in the middle, that's where Islam kicks in. Right? Islam is right in the middle. It actually partitions the absolute disbelief from the Iman. So if somebody who becomes a Muslim, he actually is believing in the fundamental belief that separates the disbelief from the belief. Right? That's what Islam is. That's what Muslim is. So as soon as somebody becomes a Muslim, he has an option to actually start the journey towards making his Iman stronger. Now, the question is, if somebody becomes a Muslim and he was a super disbeliever previously, does he have very strong Iman from day one? No. That Iman has to be built. Right? And the tool or a boat that you sit on to sail and build that Iman towards strong Iman is the taqwa. Right? It's the taqwa. That's the tool you use. Now, what is taqwa? That's a separate question. We, inshallah, have a discussion on that. And on the other hand, this is also called Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. That's the right path that you ask guidance for every time we offer salah. Right. So this path from Islam all the way to the strong Iman. That's the journey we are taking. Right. So just trying to visualize this in our head. So when we think about our journey and trying to improve ourselves and it's reciting Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim next time, the visual aspect comes to our mind that this is where we are going. Right. Now, what happens when somebody does not believe in Islam? So the option that they have is to go towards this belief. And the tool generally they used is the hypocrisy. Now, continuous, consistent hypocrisy actually would lead you to ultimate disbelief. Right? And the entire journey also maps into the Islam. Do we have hypocrites in Islam historically and even now? Yes. So hypocrisy does exist in Islam in various different shapes and forms. Right? And it's only Allah who is allowed to judge anybody. We are not judging anybody, but we know that hypocrisy exists in Islam. Right? Now, when somebody becomes a Muslim and achieves a very strong iman, that are the ones called the muflihuns, the successful ones. Right? So, can you give me some examples of the ones with a very strong iman and who potentially we already know are the muflihuns? Who are those people?
The Ashram Bashra.
Ashra Mubashara, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the companions, and all of those people that we know, right? Those are the muflihuns. They have the strongest of iman. Probably we can never achieve that level of iman, but we can always be on that journey. Right opposite are the khasiruns, the ones who are the losers. The losers who have absolute disbelief, and we have examples of those people too. Pharaoh, for example,
Abu Jahl.
Abu Jahl, for example, absolute disbelievers, unsuccessful ones, the ones in the loss, right? Allah says, "Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr," the ones who are in loss. And if you make a noun out of that word, the doer out of that word is called khasir, the one who loses. Right? So khasirun is the plural of khasirun, khasiran, khasirin, and so on. Right? Now, what happens if somebody turns to Islam? He starts to do a few things. Allazina amanu. First, he believes. Right? Second, wa amil salihat. Starts to do good deeds. Right? Watawasaw bil haqq. He counsels and stands by the truth. Watawasaw bis sabr. These are four things effectively that Allah tells any Muslim should be doing. Surah Asr is such a powerful surah. What I'm trying to do here is trying to map the learning of the Quran to our real life. Where does it actually apply? Right? So Surah Asr is such a powerful surah. It's a very short surah, as you know, and there are four lessons Allah has given us that what a person who has Islam does actually, and the entire Quran defines how to believe, how to do good deeds, how to stand by the truth, how to do the sabr. The whole Quran is the answer, and this is the entire summary of four things that we have to do as Muslims. Now, when somebody is a Muslim and you does these four things, he could potentially do it at various different levels, right? For example, if I give you a very realistic example, for some, uh, looking at a chicken and eating it without verifying it is fine because it's a chicken, it's halal. For some, going to the slaughterhouse and looking from his own eyes while it's being zabihat, then eating is halal. It's a different level of salihat, right? All are Muslims, right? For some, selling alcohol in the shop is fine because he's providing for his family. For some, it's not. So it's a different level. The way we define our belief, the way we define our salihat, the good deeds, the way we stand by the truth, the way we do the sabr. Everyone has a different level. And that level is defined by how much you sail on the taqwa. The more you sail on the taqwa, the better level you get, right? Now, what happens here? Your entire journey from start of the Islam all the way to the end. This is the journey which is actually Ehdinas Sirat al-Mustaqim. This is the journey we are actually on. And Iman, one of the characteristics of Iman is it fluctuates. You can be today at this level, and then you can flip back to this level. When Ramadan comes, everyone is at the highest level of Iman, right? And when Ramadan goes, the Chandrat is probably bringing us right at the beginning of this level, right? So those types of things. So Iman fluctuates. So we can't judge anybody. But the point is the consistency, the struggle that we make in going towards the strong Iman, becoming the Muflihuns, is the effort that Allah is after. I think we discussed that in the very beginning of the class. Keep one thing in mind, effort. It's the effort that Allah wants to reward. Now, every one of us could be taken by Allah anytime, right? We could die anytime. So we could die when we are at this point. We could die when we are at this point of Iman. We could die when we are doing something of a hypocritic nature. Anyone could die anytime, right? So when somebody passes away, Allah decides what is the level of premium He needs to give him. What is the level of premium? He has 7 packages, right? There's 7 packages of Jannah, from basic to royal package, right? We do not know which package we're going to get and how we're going to get it, right? There would be Muslims who would see the hellfire before entering the Jannah. There would be Muslims who would directly enter the Jannah. But all Muslims would ultimately enter Jannah, right? So it's Allah's decision to decide where do we fall. And it's our struggle to make sure that we are as much on this part of the taqwa and the iman as possible, as less fluctuation as possible, as more consistency, the more strong, closer we are towards the muflihun. Probably we will never reach the iman of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq or Hazrat Umar. We'll never reach there, but we can be closer, and then we can hope that Allah will give us the premium. Now, question: what is the premium suit, the royal suit called that Allah is offering us? Anybody knows? What is the name of the royal suit? This
Firdaus.
one, Jannatul Firdaus. That's the royal suit. I mean, the example, when I was explaining this to my son, the example I gave him was you save money to go to Dubai so you can have a premier view from the top of Burj Khalifa, and you go and say, here you go, I have 10,000. I want a room in Burj Khalifa. They say, sir, we have a room in basement for that place. Right? You're still in Burj Khalifa, you're still in Dubai, but you can't get the royal suit because you're not paying enough. Right? So There are examples in the Quran, inshallah. One of the classes I'll bring those ayahs where Allah defines a story of somebody who enters Jannah and recalls one of his friends who is missing from the dunya. And then Allah opens up that window from the Jannah to the Jahannam where that friend lives. And they have a communication between them. I'll bring that story for you, inshallah. One day. It's in the Quran. Right? It's amazing, amazing story. So it's up to Allah which level He grants us, depending upon how much struggle we have done to go closer to the strong. Right? Now, opposite to that is Jahannam, of course. And there are by all means various levels of Jahannam which we're not too interested in. Right? We're interested on the right side. The last message I want to give you is, as a Muslim, as a believer, every believer operates in between two emotions, always and always. One is fear that if Allah is going to forgive me, have I done too many sins in my life? Is Allah going to throw me in Jahannam or Jannah? That fear. And hope that Allah is merciful. Even if I have done those sins, He will forgive me. All I have to do is ask for it. Right? For a believer, winning is in the akhirah, not in this dunya. But for somebody who's out of the boundaries of this Islam and is before it towards the absolute disbelief, there is no fear because there is no concept of life after death, because there is no concept of hell or heaven. I mean, for those people, winning in dunya is everything, right? Anyone who's truly religious according to what Allah has sent down, be Christian or Jew or Muslim, they have the same message. And if they're truly believing in those messengers, they would always live in the two emotions, between the two emotions of fear and hope. That's how it is. That's how I have come to understand the journey of increasing the Iman. Right? So it's just a very quick visual summary of how our life looks like when we go from Islam all the way to the stronger Iman. In the next class, inshallah, if I do it in this class, it's going to be too much. In the next class, we pick up this black line, this struggle, and we will go through how Allah has given us indications and choices to increase the taqwa. What is this taqwa boat actually? That's what inshallah we'll cover up in the next class. Okay, so just a very quick reminder for all of us, first for myself, then for all of